Us
crazy
live.
going on. The fact that the $2 billion lottery was delayed because of some technical glitch, and you're like, okay, when does this happen? Well, it happens when energetically things are kind of crazy. So we're not here to talk about that the energy of craziness today. We're here to talk about branding, which can drive some people crazy. I'm Kathleen Gage, and I am with Vegan Visibility Publications, and I am here with my business associate, my business partner, my good friend, V-Lynn Hotkins. V-Lynn, how are you today?
Kathleen, I am doing well. The cosmic energies are aflow right now. Oh my goodness. But doing well. And I loved how you set everything up with the conversation about the energies because we're going to be talking about brand today. As the co founders of the Vegan Visibility Productions company, we really are looking at our own brand, what our brand statement is, what our brand personality is, and the direction that we want our brand to go in.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes knowing what brand is, your own personal and your business brand, and then do they intersect? How do they intersect? Where do they intersect? And for us, it is truly about alignment, those energies, and knowing where you want to go, how you want to get there. And there's so much that comes into this conversation, and we're going to use this opportunity to also invite you to something that we have going on, right, Kathleen?
Absolutely. And I'm actually going to pop up a banner right now. It's free, free, free. And, our brand is not about being free, free, free all the time, but it is about serving our community. And what's interesting is with Vegan Visibility Publications and Productions, we actually are launching our brand with the second annual Vegan Visibility Summit. Last year, it was done through my company, Vegan Visibility, and V-Lynn and I merged our efforts together, and we have Vegan Visibility Productions. And what's interesting is we already have clients we're working with under that umbrella, and this is kind of our announcement to the world that this is what we're doing. And so how we present the summit is very, very important. Just like how you do anything is very, very important. And it's amazing how some people, they are pretty sloppy in putting their brand out to market, or they don't think that everything they do is a part of their branding. For example, I went on a morning run this morning. That is a part of my branding, health and fitness. I'm going to be 69 years old in a few months, which blows me away. I keep saying it because it's like, is it going to finally register? But quite seriously, that is a part of my branding too. Being an older woman, where when I was growing up, when you were close to 70, you were kind of done. And now it's like, oh, we're just starting. And that's really a part of what the Vegan Visibility Production brand is about, is that we're just starting with what you're doing to help you get your message out to market. And I have to tell you, I had a really great message this morning from Sonia, who is a divorce attorney. She actually speaks about divorce and having amicable divorces. And she went through my podcast training. And when she first started, she really didn't have a lot of experience at podcasts. She said now she's got 75 under her belt, and she just got an invitation to be on television. And she said, I have to tell you, had it not been for what you taught me and about raising up my vibration so that I could actually do that, I never would have done it. And I said, may I use that as a testimonial? That too is a part of your branding. When people are singing your praises, you don't want to just say thank you. You want to say, well, may I use that in a testimonial if it's appropriate? In some cases, it may not be. In other cases, it will be. So with your branding, it used to be that you always kept your personal and your professional life separate. When I was growing up, we didn't even talk about money in our household. It was like my dad had the basically the purse strings, and you never asked how much he made. As long as the bills were paid, there was a roof over our head, and we had food in the refrigerator and meals to eat. That was all we needed to concern ourselves with, which is kind of interesting because in today's world, there is a lot of conversation about money, about revenues, and about does your personal lifestyle, does it match your professional brand? We're in the vegan space, and both of us are vegans. And I had somebody who asked me, they said, you do all this vegan stuff. Are you a vegan? And it's like, well, I would be very out of alignment if here I was promoting veganism and I wasn't vegan. So what do you have to say about that, Lynn?
I'm totally with you. And I think that is one of the reasons that I felt so out of alignment. For me, I was a fence sitter. I was in a bit of judgment. I'm just going to be transparent. I was in a bit of judgment about vegans. Do they really talk their talk and walk their walk? Because there were a lot of instances that I did not see that, or at least I thought I didn't see it. What I didn't realize was that there were some vegans that were struggling with being healthy vegans and, plant-based vegans. They were junk food vegans. And so they were angry vegans and they were sick vegans. And without knowing what I knew about or what I learned from some vegans who are really trying to change the current perception around veganism, was that there's an element of compassion that comes with being vegan, that you really want to not only be in first for yourself, but then for others, for animals, for the planet. And I think that it's really important to know that before I knew I was vegan, I was on that journey. What I didn't realize was really the harm that I was personally doing towards the animals by eating them. And that was the last step for me. And, when I think about aligning with my brand of who I was, doing social enterprise projects, and, the people that I worked with were those social entrepreneurs who wanted to do crowdfunding campaigns and couldn't really even figure out how to start one, to create it, what platforms to use, all of that. And what I ended up really honing in on was, what was your message? Is your campaign bigger than you? You want to raise funds to create a job in your business. How are you messaging that so that people understand that it's bigger than you and bringing profits into your business? Now, is that part of the strategy? That is the strategy. But the strategy is only as good as the message and the underlying energetic reach and connection with people. We talk about pulling on people's heartstrings. Well, what is that? An energetic connection. That is, your brand conversation has to have that kind of an energetic connection in order to really have somebody that you're working with know that you're genuine and authentic and really about their mission, their cause. And most of the time, I could step into, because I was in such alignment with a client's cause, their underlying reason for doing whatever campaign they were doing. And even in my business coaching, the same thing applies. Why do you want a business? Why do you want to grow your business? How in alignment are you with your messaging, with your website, with your other tools that you're using to promote? And one of the biggest things that, and again, full transparency, I still am challenged by, so I keep an eye on it, is what is it that others are seeing to answer the question, am I in alignment with my brand and my message? And that, I think, is what each of us must be willing to ask ourselves and bring forward, because we can say yes. When I said yes to, that's not something that I want to do anymore. And trust me, I was the chicken wing girl. I had recipes, and I got to the point where I couldn't fix it anymore, even for others to eat.
Right.
And, Kathleen, it was because I felt like I was helping others to do harm, and I just couldn't do it anymore.
I love what you said there because it is so true. It's like it's not just what we do individually, but it's what we do to support others in certain behaviors. And you see this in with people who are codependent, and maybe they have somebody in their family who is a full-fledged alcoholic. And I'm actually coming up on 39 years of sobriety, so I have. Thank
Congratulations.
you. Thank you. Actually, in just a few days. And I have a lot of experience with what it's like to be a practicing alcoholic. And I quit practicing. I had it down. Trust me, I had it down and I kept falling down. But and that's one reason I had to release that. But it's kind of like in those types of relationships, if I, as somebody who knows the harm that alcohol caused me and many other people, if I go out and buy alcohol for people, that's out of alignment, and I won't do it. Unless there are exceptions to the rule, unless it's somebody who is like withdrawing and the withdrawals could kill them. So you have to adjust what you believe is true
Right.
based on circumstances. And in the vegan world, that's one thing I don't do. I don't buy meat for people. I don't cook meat for people. And if somebody wants to cook it and go eat it, well, that's their business. I'm not here to impose what I'm doing, but I will educate them about the harm that it's not necessarily bringing just to themselves, but to the animals and the environment. And in the branding, I was struck by much of what you said. With it really is about everything you do. And recently we had a situation where somebody was wanting us to use their services. And it's all about punctuality. It's all about delivering on time, doing what you say. And we set a meeting, and it was very early in the morning for me. My morning time is my running time, my meditation time. That's a part of my branding also. And for that day, I thought, okay, I'll have the meeting and then I can go do what I need to do. And they never showed up. And there was no message, no nothing until a day or two later. And then it's like, oh, well, let's reset the meeting. And it's like, wait a minute, we put time aside. Your branding is that you don't follow through. And if there was an emergency, we are flexible around that. I mean, they're definitely flexible, but there was no explanation, no nothing. Just, oh, well, I missed the meeting. Now let's set another meeting. Well, that set the tone for the relationship. So in your branding, what you do in that first encounter is a part of your branding. What you do in your 10th encounter is part of the branding. And it's also knowing where to set your boundaries. That's a part of your branding. But it's also, you mentioned about websites, and I recall one person who, the more visible you are, the more you have people that reach out and they want to give you their services or offer you their services. And I had somebody who was a branding something or other. And I went and looked at their website and I thought, oh no, 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 no. I if this is how they're representing themselves, and the days of saying the plumber who has a broken toilet are over. The days where the shoemaker, their kids don't have shoes, is over. It's like, when you say that you're a branding expert, you better represent that well. When you say that you are truly a vegan, that's part of your branding, is to represent it in a way that's aligned for you. Now, there are many degrees of veganism. It's like, whether we like that or not, that is a fact of life. Some people are on the vegan diet and it's really not a diet, but that's a whole different conversation. It is part of a lifestyle. And it just so happens that we eat whole food, plant-based. And you mentioned about being junk food vegans. You can be a vegan and eat a lot of potato chips, cookies, junk food that doesn't serve you, and you're not healthy. And so if you're saying that you are a healthy vegan, part of your branding is to live in alignment with that. So I really appreciate what you brought up about, everything is a part of your branding.
And, I so love the fact that you rounded things out so well, because our personal brand and our business brand, it's tough to separate them.
Mhm.
It's really tough to separate them. And if you can separate them easily, you're not really in alignment. You know, um, Case in point, who you were talking about, they looked really good on their website. The services that we were considering looked really good on their website. They even had the messaging all right, but it's more than You only get 11 seconds or 3 seconds to make a good first impression.
Mhm.
Well, we gave them a lot more than that. And even late would have been a better impression than not at all, and no follow up. So you want to also bring in the compassion side of things, where in business, in life, things do get messy. And what you want to do is incorporate in your brand that authentic, transparent side of you that can admit when making a mistake, because we all do it. Can admit when, a piece of one of those business plates that's flying, because you're juggling so many, one of them drops. It's like, I dropped it, it caused this, we're cleaning this up, and just be in the space of, for me, being real. I've spent a lot of years in corporate where you couldn't be real to
Absolutely.
some people. And I think that's what made me a better leader, because I was the real when it came to my team, the
Absolutely.
people that I interacted with and that I wanted to inspire and grow and, help them to succeed in their careers. I was real with them. But playing politics, you have to juggle in that space of compromise. And I got to a point where the corporate politics was no longer an area that I wanted to play in. I was not in alignment with it anymore. And I think that in life and in our businesses, we go through that journey where those intersections happen, and we have to make a right turn, or, go another block before we make that turn. And your brand should be a reflection of the growth that you are having in yourself and in your business. One of the things for me was, I remember telling one of my clients, a business development client, that I was evolving. My business had evolved. And I started out in my business serving women in real estate, and women who had businesses that had real estate attached to them. They were leasing office space, or they were, in a retail space, or they owned a building. And, you don't just go there, you have to grow there. And I think this whole message in branding is, if your branding today is what your branding was 10 years ago, you've missed a turn.
Right. That is so correct. And what occurred to me is where a lot of people focus all their effort on branding is their logo. It's like logos are important, and yet you want to make sure that your personal behaviors, the way you treat people is a part of your branding. And if you're more concerned about that logo than you are of how you're treating people, and when you make a mistake, admit that you've made a mistake. And in some cases, you're going to own that mistake and you're going to pay for that mistake. We had a situation where we were working with somebody and there was something that needed to be ordered, and I let the ball drop on that, and it was like, my bad. I made the mistake. I'm paying for it. And in cases like that, that reflects on the relationship long term, because with many people, they look at the short term gain instead of the long term game that is a part of building a business. That you want to be able to 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now, feel very comfortable if you run into this person. I'm working with a client that I worked with 16 years ago on a book launch, and we're working again on another book launch. And our first encounter was 16 years ago, and she goes, it was one of the best experiences I had. And I didn't realize that it was that great for her, to the point that now we're working together again. And so you want to look at the fact that you don't want to have to look over your shoulder and say, ooh, what do I need to cover up? What do I need to, make a story about? The more transparent and authentic, and I know authentic is a rather overused word, but truly, the more authentic you are, the better off you're going to be. For example, as vegans, if we're out at a restaurant and we order any kind of an animal or a dairy type product, and somebody were walking in, would we hide that from them? Would we be embarrassed? So part of your branding is to live a life without embarrassment. And it doesn't mean you're not going to do embarrassing things. Trust me, I do plenty of embarrassing things. I embarrass my family all the time, but that's a whole different story. That is a part of my branding too. But quite seriously, it's like you want to make sure that you're truly aligned with what you say is true. And I don't know who I heard say this recently. It might have been Lisa Nichols, where she said, when the tongue in your shoe is going in the same direction the tongue in your mouth is, whatever you're saying, if you're walking in that direction, then you are in alignment. But if you're walking to the left or right, and you know somewhere that you're just not doing what should be done, that reflects on your brand. So what are pieces of branding for people who might be new to business? What would be some things that they need to look for in their branding?
Well, you mentioned a few, your logo, maybe your brand and the way that you are promoting yourself. You need business cards. But I want to tell people something exciting, which will also answer that question. And that is the Vegan Visibility Summit that's coming up with one of the vegans greats who's going to be talking about branding and your brand personality and it having an impact in the world. You want people to know that that's what you're about. And so there's a great strategy that I'm looking forward to his sharing that is going to answer that and several more questions. And we want you to go to veganvisibility.com/summit 2022 and sign up. It's free. We've got 12 or 13 presenters, a lot of good stuff. And Kathleen, you rattle those names off. I'd have to look at my cheat sheet.
Well, we've got Jamie Logan, who is from It's Jamie's Corner, and she's a YouTube sensation, and she actually goes out on the streets in New York, and she does advocacy work that way of educating people about really what they're doing when they decide to eat any type of animal product. Thanksgiving is coming up, and a lot of people mindlessly go buy the turkey. Do your research and find out really what they do to farm those turkeys. But Jamie, she actually is just exploding on YouTube. Well, she is doing a session on how to get visibility on social media and how to go viral. We've got Will Saunders, who is the branding expert. We've got Wanda Huberman, who is the executive director of the oldest vegan organization in the world. We're so tickled to have her as part of this whole campaign. And she is going to talk about what to look for when you put on events. Now, she puts on a huge conference. They sell out every year. They have a virtual aspect. They have an in-person aspect. And you can actually go to their website at nationalhealthassociation.org, and you can check out their information. You can join their organization for $35 a year. It's unbelievable. And so she's going to be talking about events. Then we have Matali, who is the vegan publisher, talking about, is now the right time to get a book to market? And if so, here are some things that you need to know. We have the amazing Katrina Fox, who is going to be talking about how to get publicity. And on the flip side, we've got Jana Short, who runs a magazine that they have nearly 1 million person subscriber list. And she's talking about what editors look for. So we're going to get both sides of the issue on that to learn how do you reach out to editors, and then what do editors really look for, and why do many media releases get rejected? Because the whole idea with the summit is to help new and established vegan businesses, plant-based businesses, green businesses, to really amplify your visibility. And we've got many, many, many more. We've got Sandra Nomoto, who put together the first ever vegan marketing book with, I don't know, she's got like 70 experts who contributed to the book. I was blessed to be one of those experts. Katrina was one of the experts. Matali was one of the experts. So, it's interesting because even though the vegan market is relatively large in many ways, it's a very, very close-knit community of people who we help each other, we amplify each other. And so, like V-Lynn said, go sign up. It's free. For the 16th, 17th, and 18th of November, which is right around the corner, you can get in for absolutely nothing. You can enjoy these sessions. You can learn a lot because these are real sessions. We're teaching real information. It's not a lot of fluff, and we're not going to be pitching you a bunch of stuff. That's kind of my rule is we don't want it to be a pitch fest. We want it to be an information fest where you can actually take that information and apply it immediately. That is our branding. So, Belen?
Wow. I'm excited every time I hear talk about the summit and who's involved and what experts are bringing their expertise to the community. And that's part of it too. We are building a community. Our goal is to build a community because one of our values and one of our guiding principles is about collaboration. And to the degree that we can collaborate to create tremendous things happening in the world, it just helps each and every one of us make a greater impact in the work that we do. So we want you to come to the summit to participate. And there's a VIP upgrade that you can do to get some of the additional bonuses that the presenters are providing, and they're only available to VIPs. And when you see some of these, you're going to want to get them. We're going to be showing them to you so that you will know what you are able to get in the bonuses. Everything from programs to books to courses to one-on-one conversations with these experts to really take a deep dive into what it is that you'd like to do, where you are now, where you want to go. And, there's so much value that they are bringing through the summit that I'm asking everybody to check your calendar, put it down, don't miss it. And if you do happen to miss it, you'll want to really stay on top of it because the presentations are only going to be available in recorded form for 24 hours after they're done. So make sure that you are there, sign up so that you can get the information and know where to tune in. It's just going to be great. And I'm excited because each and every one of these experts, I know I can learn from.
Absolutely. Oh, and that's the thing. I've had my business 28 years, and I've been through the downturn because of 9/11, because of the real estate downturn in 2008. And then with COVID, there was a major downturn for a lot of us who are keynote speakers and conference producers. And what's exciting is when I think of the caliber of people involved in the summit, I know that I'm going to learn from them as much as we all learn from each other. If you ever get to a point where you think you know everything, that's the time to close your doors because we don't know everything. It's always evolving and changing. And I have to tell you, with the caliber of experts that are a part of this summit, they're giving of their time. So why not give of your time to learn from them, sign up, and you will be glad you did. And the upgrade is only $47 if you want to do that. You'll have access to the replays for at least a year. You'll get some bonuses. Belen and I are going to do some private training with those people who upgrade. And I can assure you it is going to be a great investment. And if you don't, that's great too. We want to make this available to you so that you can grow your business, because part of our branding and our commitment is that we want to do everything possible to raise up the vibration of the vegan community and have that domino effect where what our advocacy is, what our activism is business. And we work with other businesses to help you amplify your voice. So with that, Belen, what are your final thoughts?
Final thought, come join us.
Okay.
There's not much more to say than that. I'm an expert in a couple of things. Branding is not it. So when we're in this conversation, I know a few things about branding, and everything that we've talked about are, I don't want to say common knowledge, but they are things that you can glean off of the top of the cup. What we want to do is dive into the cup and really bring out those things that are going to help you to grow your business into this next decade. We've already talked about the next decade being one that is, a step up from
Right.
what we've seen already. 5.0 is not the same as what 4.0 was, and the changes that are occurring are part of what our experts are bringing to you so that you can not only be prepared, you can position yourself now so that when those opportunities show up, you're ready for that yes. People who, didn't want to say the yes, backed away from the yes. And sometimes, yeah, you really do want to back up from the yes, but if you're prepared and you're positioned, why not? Don't let what's in your head stop you from
Right.
doing what's in your heart to do.
Absolutely. Well, Vlyn, as always, it's been delightful. And to those that were watching on the live, thank you so much. And for those who will watch the replay, thank you so much. And I encourage you, sign up for the summit. You'll be glad you did. And it will be a game changer so that 2023 can be your banner year. Have a great day. This is Kathleen Gage and
Vlyn Hawkins saying ciao for now.
ciao for now.